Hey everyone, welcome to Beyond. Be sure to hit like and subscribe so the algorithm can find the channel for others. Today we have a very important couple of guests to talk about their feature film called The Vine. We are joined by Frances Campbell, an executive producer, along with her actor-director husband, Jeremy Campbell, to discuss her film that is in production currently. The Vine is a fast and gritty thriller that takes place in Akron, Ohio, a story that focuses on the scourge of drugs. Today, Northeast Ohio is at the epicenter of the opioid crisis. Frances and Jeremy, welcome.
Hello.
Hello, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's good to have you, man. You know, you guys are really focused on a topic that I don't think is more critical in the nation today. Maybe there's a lot of issues in the nation, but the idea of drugs coming across the border and the idea of the scourge of drugs in middle America on the coasts is very real. In fact, I read somewhere where the revenue with illegal drugs is $320 billion a year, right? And so there's a huge profit motive, but there's certainly a devastating consequence. So I think what you're focused on today is really critical. But if you can do us a favor, Jeremy, take us back, kind of through your journey that led to this sort of film concept that sort of led up to meeting Frances.
Well, it's a long road. I'll take you back probably about 20 years ago when I decided, I'd put my dream to play in the NFL aside. And when I realized I'd put that dream to rest, I decided to move out to Los Angeles to pursue filmmaking and acting. And it's been a long road. I went from living in a closet to pretty early on booking a small role on General Hospital. Soon after that, after a couple of moves, really wanted to get into the arts a bit more, and heard about this prestigious Stella Adler Acting Academy. And I used to watch a lot of movies growing up with my grandma Alda, and a lot of the classics, and she would tell me before I left to bring back old Hollywood. And from there, I just really got into touch with and realized that a lot of the actors that I admired had went there, like Marlon Brando, Warren Beatty, had been trained by her, Robert De Niro, Richard Dreyfuss, Benicio del Toro, and Mark Ruffalo. And so I really wanted to get involved and so I hustled and I scrapped and I scraped and I did all kinds of odd jobs. I was a cater waiter for Universal Studios and for Paramount Studios. I was a delivery driver. I did everything I could to make ends meet because I'm not from money, and to save up to go to this school, this prestigious school that had a lot of people that I really admired. And upon going there, I would pay for my classes with a work program. I'd clean toilets, I'd do the lights, I was an usher for different play productions to just kind of fuel my fire and pay for school while I was there. And upon being there, I really started to admire and appreciate, playwrights like Shakespeare and Tennessee Williams and Arthur Miller, and just really got into the arts of it. And what I got from it was just a real appreciation for, for what it is that we do. And, along the way I would, book a David Mamet film, Spartan, here and there. I would book a commercial, or I would, do a feature film, but it was always like this survival game with me. The cost of living, just it was just a real grind. And
in your story, I would say it's probably pretty typical of people pursuing acting or the arts in LA. I mean, it's a struggle. It's any job you have to take in terms of just funding your passion. And I've heard that story just again and again, that people get into it, but it wasn't like it was a silver spoon in your mouth. It was handed to you. You had to go grind and earn it.
Absolutely. it's one of those things that once you have something and you're passionate about it, if you love to watch movies and it just becomes a part of you. You can't let it go. I mean, it's who I am, and it's what I do. And come what may, it just becomes one of those things that, I'm going after this, and whatever happens, happens. But it's been hard. I went through homelessness. Up until 2018, the end of 2018, when I met Francis, I had just finished writing my script. And the reason I got into writing was, like I said, because I started admiring all these playwrights, and I wanted to take control of my career. So I started making, writing and directing my own short films in LA. I was your classic guerrilla filmmaker. We'd show up and we'd shoot. We didn't have permits, but we'd get what we could and kind of, get out of there before, a park ranger would show up, or, the police would show up to make these different films. And, one of my short films, it didn't win anything, but it got into the Hollywood Film Festival, which is a real testament of, the drive, because, I self-funded my own projects. I wrote them, I directed them, and everybody, really believed in them, and everybody showed up on time. And it was just a real, like a collaborative effort. And it was a great experience. But for me, coming back, I wanted to take control of my career, and I did the short film game, and I wanted to write something that was, based in the now, that people could relate to. And so that's why, in 2018, I met my beautiful wife, Frances, and I just got tired of waiting around for the phone to ring. I had this script, and everybody, I got up to these different production companies. Everybody that was reading it loved it, but they had their own agenda, and the opioids isn't really on the West Coast the way it is here on the East Coast. So it was like, well, we really like it, but we got this, and this, and I just got tired of waiting around for the phone to ring, from Hollywood. And I met her, and at the time I was living on the street in an RV in LA, and I just decided, we decided, I decided to sell the RV. Let's move back to Ohio. Let's make this thing independently and let the chips fall where they may.
I love it. It's funny. You look at where you're at. You're homeless. You're on the streets. You're out of a motorhome, and then you meet this amazing woman in Germany. So, Frances, let's talk about a little bit of your journey. You're in Germany. You've gotten your degree. You're moving along in your career, but you were looking for some sort of change, certainly. And then you met Jeremy. What's been the transition from moving from Germany to the U.S. and pursuing this film, The Vine?
Yeah, it was definitely not easy because I had to leave family and friends, and I basically started from zero here, and everything. It was a new environment, but I have to say, I had Jeremy. He helped me a lot. We had us. And even though it was not easy because we were not from money, but things worked out, like miracles happened. We have this dream, and we made some good contacts now on the way. And I have this feeling the ball is finally rolling for this project. So yeah, I'm really excited doing this.
It really does take a team, and to have that energy of the two of you really focus on this project, I think is really, really important. And I like the idea, Jeremy, where, I come from a startup world where you go create, you bring the team together, you find money, and you make it happen. You don't waiting for a big company to call you up and fund it, because it usually never happens. And it really resonates what you guys are doing with, hey, you know what, we're going to take our destiny in our hands, chips will land where they may.
Right.
You're passionate about it. I think that's a big part of what people invest in, your vision, your passion, and your energy towards it. But as we transition, we think about this particular project, The Vine. It feels, for both of you, it's a passion project. But why opioids? I mean, I know you mentioned a little bit there, it's a big issue in your part of the world, not so much in the West Coast. There's so many issues you could probably cover because you're talented, you're able to write, direct movies. Why specifically opioids?
Well, I came back home in a few years ago, actually, and to visit family, and I hadn't really heard about it. I had this idea about this movie for like the last 4 or 5 years. I knew that I wanted to create, you know, a visual portrayal of my hometown because I'm proud of Akron, Ohio, where I'm from. And, but it's never been, you know, there's never been a visual portrayal of my hometown before, but I didn't really have the conflict, you know, and I came back home and I had the beginning, I kind of had the ending, and I just didn't know where I was going to go with it. And then I heard about, you know, what was going on, and it seemed like every time I turned on the news, there was somebody else overdosing and dying, and it was just, you know, it's tearing families apart. It's just, it's horrible. And personally, I've lost friends to this epidemic, and I've seen how it just rips apart their family, and it's just devastating. And as much as I am a filmmaker and I want to, you know, make something cool and something that, you know, is of the time and something that people can relate to and inspire them, but I also want to create awareness to an issue that's going on. And so I guess it's kind of all of them combined, you know. I've experienced loss from this epidemic, and just Northeast Ohio in particular being basically the epicenter of what's going on here. All these, you know, opioids are coming in through Cleveland and Akron and being distributed throughout, you know, different parts of the country. It's just, it's really put the community on notice. And like I said, I just felt the urge. I can't explain it. I just was like, as soon as I heard about this, I was like, oh my gosh, that's it.
Jeremy, this is a timely topic, and I'm glad you guys are focused on it. I did some research, and you know this as well as I do, but the cost of abuse of tobacco, alcohol, illicit drugs on our nation, just managing it, dealing with the medical issues, the societal, the psychological issues, is $740 billion annually. So it's a big deal, and it relates to crime, lost productivity, healthcare, and we know that north of 70,000 people OD a year, and I would argue it's probably double that when you factor in homicides and suicides, right? Because what you don't see is sort of the outcropping, the ripple effect of that. So when you think about the Vine, what message, and certainly Francis, feel free to chime in, but what message are you trying to help send the audience specifically about substance abuse?
Well, message is also like we want to give a voice to the voiceless.
That's right.
And not just creating awareness, but also giving hope again.
Yeah, inspiring hope for sure. But yeah, you know, I want to create awareness, but I also want the audience to leave feeling inspired, and you know, and how dark of a time we're in right now. You know, art itself, it gives people the opportunity to heal. You know what I mean? It enlightens people. It enlightens their consciousness to what's going on. And what better way to do it than, you know, to kind of show, you know, America itself, and what can we do to, you know, at the end of the day, this whole thing, we need to treat each other better, and we need to love each other more, and we need to take care of each other. You know, if you feel like you have somebody that's close to you that's going through something. I just lost another friend to this crisis about a month ago, and I had this feeling I wanted to reach out to him, but I didn't, and now he's gone. And I called his brother, and I told him, I said, gosh, you know, I just wish I would have called him. And he said, he's been going back and forth with this for a while. I don't know if there's anything that you could have done, but I still have this feeling of loss that I had this feeling, but I didn't do anything. I didn't jump to the chance to reach out to somebody that I knew was going through some stuff. And you know, it's one of those things where, like, pick up the phone, make the call, you know, but also treat it like Francis said, treat each other better, encourage each other more, you know, because you never really know what somebody's going through.
No, that's 100%. I think what's, you know, interesting, easy to assume that people who abuse drugs are from lower socioeconomic, maybe not as educated, but the reality is this is affecting everybody, regardless of socioeconomic status, regardless of how much money you have in the bank. It's so addictive. And I was reading where, you know, and this is crazy. This is from a a drug dealer from Central America goes, 20% of any impact from drugs comes from illicit drugs. So when we think about, opioids, overdoses, whatnot, 80% he was saying comes from prescription drugs. Now I know that the Trump administration has really cracked down on the issuance of prescription drugs. There's a lot of
Right.
oversight on this with doctors for sure. But we all know that drug traffickers change strategy, right? So they make their drugs a lot more powerful, a lot more addictive. And I was watching this crazy show out of Boston, and it was like a game of chicken and mouse or cat and mouse, I should say, where you get these people just radically overdose on fentanyl. They lace it with fentanyl, get them highly addictive, right? And then you see the ambulance crews coming out with their Narcan shots and trying to revive these people. And they just documented this going on in Boston. And it was like throughout the day, this guy was on call, and he would go to 10 to 20 of these situations. And you just realize, wow, this is a complete epidemic.
It's serious, and based in, the current reality of what's going on out there, you just hit the nail on the head. I have a character in my script that actually says that verbatim, that the dealers are spiking their drugs with fentanyl. I mean, it's real. I mean, it's happening. And it's killing people for sure. Absolutely. And you just, and people know this, and that's what the sad part is. They know it, but what are the reasons behind, addiction? I mean, you could go on, there's no one area or one thing that you could, hit the nail on the head. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons for it. I mean, trauma, loss, poverty, depression, hopelessness, stress. I mean, it's different strokes for different folks, but I mean, it's real. And
it all has the same nexus of where it leads to, which is addiction, which is, potentially an overdose, and it's happening more than it should in the U.S. So as we think about the movie The Vine and this message you're trying to send to create awareness, because I think when you create awareness, that's when you have the ability for people to act, put something together, and do something about it. Can you provide a sort of a high-level synopsis of The Vine?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll give you a log line. How about that?
Sure.
So it's about a group of childhood friends whose lives turn upside down after an unexpected death reunites them years later. Now, as far as like a synopsis, scene to scene, or what happens in the movie, I mean, I'm a writer of a feature film, and I don't really want to let the rabbit out of the hat, if you will. I wrote this, so the thing on the forefront of my mind when I was writing is, Tarantino says write a movie that you'd want to see, and so I had that, but I also didn't want to make it predictable, and I want to have the audience be on the edge of their seat. So do we have a synopsis? Absolutely. It's in our business plan. We provide it to all of our potential investors, but as far as publicly, I want them to see the movie, So
yeah, we don't want to give the secret away, but I think that was a nice job, at least helping the audience know exactly what you're focused on. So, Francis, as the executive director, have you guys identified a cast that you have in place to, participate in the movie and be the actors, or is that still a work in process?
Yes, we definitely have a couple of roles, but we still need to hold auditions, and we're also looking to cast a couple named actors. So we're still in the process.
So we have a couple of people attached, but we still, like you said, we have to, have auditions and
see them.
Yeah, and we're definitely looking to cast a couple of names.
So what is the process? If someone's looking at your film, they read the script, take us through sort of the process of how you cast an actor. I mean, what is the secret? What is a recipe for success where you see that person read the scene, you're like, that's the person, that's it.
That's the person. That's the magic. That's when the magic happens. It's one of those things where you kind of have an idea, have a vision. I'm going to have, our producer, Johnny Wu, and our executive producer here, Francis, my wife, I'm going to have them, to kind of collaborate and help along the way, because they know what, they know the story ins and out too. But I have a vision for the characters, and but that's, like I said, it goes back to the magic happening, and I'll have to see them, and when I see them, I'll just know. you know?
What we can definitely say is we have a diverse cast.
That's right.
And
It's definitely a diverse cast.
And multi-age ranges. We have like kids, adults, grandparents. So there's a huge variety we have to cast.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true too.
That makes a lot of sense. So as you guys looking to put this movie together, the cast together, obviously you need to raise money, and that's obviously a very important part of the process. So what are you looking to raise for the film to produce the Vine?
Oh, that's definitely my department. So our budget is a little more than $300K to make a good 90-minute feature film. But in the scope of making movies that generally cost millions of dollars, our film would be like classified as a SAG low budget production.
Mm-hmm.
So $300,000, that seems pretty. Now, how when you produce the movie and it's ready to go, how do you distribute it broadly? I mean, what's the secret there?
Well, that's you know why we're fortunate to have experienced filmmaker Johnny Woo. He has contacts, and so the game plan is basically this: finish it, and then sell it internationally, submit it to all of various film festivals here, domestically, and then once we kind of do the film festival circuit and kind of see what kind of momentum it picks up, then we have contacts to the streaming services like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime. So the first step one is, get it distributed internationally so our investors see an immediate return of investment. Then from there, we're going to use part of the budget is for submitting it for film festivals. So we're going to submit it to a bunch of film festivals and just see what kind of, momentum we can build. And from there, the sky's the limit. And I have this in our actual pitch book for our investors, but streaming services like Netflix pay $1 million off the top for finished feature films when they purchase them. So, the goal is to sell it internationally, do well in the film festivals. God willing, we'll have a theatrical release, but
That would be the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. But get it also to the streaming services so our investors see that return. And they can feel confident in the team that we've
Right.
put together, because this is like it's not a work in progress. It's a strategy that Johnny has done with, I don't know how many independent films has he made.
Around 20.
Yeah, a lot. So
Yeah.
so it's kind of a procedure that he does when he finishes every single film. So we have a good team in place. It's just about acquiring the funds so we can begin it.
So I guess next question is, where are you at in terms of raising money? I mean, you raised some money, but where would you say you are in that process of getting the 300,000?
Well, we're still in the early stages. I mean, we just basically
The pandemic postponed
oh
everything.
gosh, yeah, the pandemic
Yeah.
for sure.
For everyone, everything.
Yeah, absolutely. But we have potential investors that are we've gotten things to. We're still in the early stages of it, just because, like she said, we wanted to be shooting May of this year, but obviously that wasn't going to happen. So we're still in the early stages. We have an investor right now, but we still have a lot of we still need more to continue.
So if all goes according to plan, I know COVID's thrown a big, stick in the forks for sure on timelines and everything, but if everything goes according to plan based on your new schedule, what would you anticipate starting filming for the Vine?
Well, right now it's all about, we got to get the money. And once we get the money, we have to get permission from Akron and from the state of Ohio to allow us to shoot. And safety is a big deal for us. We're following, the safety protocol for COVID to the T. But because we want to make sure that all of our cast and our crew are safe on set. But goal, ideally, we're looking at late spring 2021.
Seems reasonable. Yeah. Hopefully by that time things have settled down, right? So
yeah,
you could actually go out there and make the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So, you know, again, I think what you guys are focused on is so vital on so many levels. And I think with your platform, and I think as you start to make these connections for this film, I'm sure you have other ideas for other films. Because I can think of human trafficking as another big issue that almost rivals the revenue generated by drugs, right? I think I read human trafficking is 150 billion, which I think a lot of people have a hard time getting their head around. But I think even the whole drug epidemic. I think people are trying to figure out if they understand it, what do you do with it? So if you make the Vine and it will be a powerful movie, I guess what is the call to action for the audience? Because I think people want to get involved and want to help, but it's one of those issues where, you know, if someone's gone through it or lost people, you know, sometimes you're not sure what to say, right? But everybody in their heart of hearts wants to see something done with this scourge for sure.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's as a filmmaker, it's all about getting the message out. And from there, you use that platform and you can do, you know, great things in the world, great works in the world. But the first and foremost is, you know, I want to just get the message out there. And then once we do, you know, like I said, we use that platform to do good things and help people out in any way we can. But first, like I said, I want to get this thing out there so people can view it and people can enjoy it and people can talk about it and, you know, get the kind of the word spread on it. And then from there, you know, it's like Bruce Lee used to say, be the water to the process, you know. I just want to be the water to the process of this thing, and whichever way it leads is whatever way the Vine leads is the way we'll go.
Yeah. And I like the name. How'd you get the name or come up with the name The Vine?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah. Well, it's a literal and figurative meaning. A group of childhood friends stumble onto a vine one summer afternoon, and it becomes their childhood hangout spot. And the figurative meaning is that the vine is their connection in life.
Oh, I like it.
So.
Yeah, that's a picture right there. I like that a lot. So let me switch gears. And Francis, these questions to you, and then Jeremy, if you want to answer it. As the audience looks at this and this amazing you know, project you guys are working on, it sort of the structure for you, what underpins it all is certainly life experiences. So what would you say some of the most important life lessons you've had, you know, coming into this whole production?
That's a good question. I would definitely say follow your heart and do what you know is right, and also don't let people take you off your path.
That's important, really important, easy to do if you're not careful. Jeremy, how about you?
For me, it's pretty simple. I'm just going to go with patience. Patience, it's a long road, and buckle up because it's going to be, you know, some kind of a ride. So just
yeah, I get that. That patience thing is a really tough one, because if you're goal driven, you're focused on timelines, getting things done. Boy, and I would imagine producing a movie is the epitome of patience when you're first starting out.
For sure.
Yeah. So again, how has life been different than you imagined it to be?
Well, I would say it's still a lot of time to go. But I think some people, to be honest, when at a certain age, they already know what they want to do. And for me, I really never had a plan, to be honest. But now I do. I'm all in this project. I finally have a vision, and that's definitely what I want to do.
Awesome. Jeremy?
I thought it would be way easier. I mean, I had some beginner's luck. You know, I was on a soap, and then I booked a David Mann movie, and I'm like, this is going to be a cake ride. It has been anything but. It's been, you know, a lot of trial and error, a lot of, you know, they say life is a learning experience, and that is so true. Maybe if I would look back on it, you know, and have it to do over, I might not, but.
Well, that's honest.
But the fact of the matter is, it's a part of me. It's in me. It's who I am. And you know, like I said, come what may, we're gonna buckle down and keep moving forward.
Now, you guys understand, or you guys are very young, relatively speaking, but for people that are aspiring to go into movies or producing movies or taking this journey, what advice would you give your 15-year-old self, knowing what you know today, as you look at where you're at today? What advice would you give yourself?
You want me to take it?
You start.
I'll take it. Okay. I guess, gosh, and invest your time in people who are there for you and who want to see you do better.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. And, don't worry about what people are doing or what they say about you or what you have or what you don't have. Just work hard. Just work hard.
Yeah, no, that's sage advice for sure. So, in terms of what you both have accomplished so far, both professionally or personally, what makes you the most proudest and why?
You want to take this one?
Yeah.
I'll do it later.
Personally, well, definitely meeting my great husband Jeremy,
Oh, thank you, babe.
and also that I handled the move to America all by myself. That was
Hey, you
a
did.
huge thing,
Yeah, it's not easy.
and everything turned out great, thank God. And professionally, I would say I'm proud of this right now. This is what we're doing. It has a great message, and it will do a lot of good for a lot of people. So I'm proud of this professionally.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, I could answer the last question too.
Please.
Personally, I'm proud of my wonderful 11-year-old son Lincoln and my beautiful wife Frances. And professionally, sorry, I have notifications coming up here. Professionally, I could say I'm proud of this role I did or that or this commercial, but to kind of piggyback on what Frances said, I'm really proud of this project and the contacts we've made contacts with the CEO of the hospital here that says we can use one of the rooms for recovery scene. We've gotten together with the mayor because we have a chase scene downtown, and for us to get our permits, we've really kind of even though the pandemic is going on, we're taking steps every single day.
A lot of things.
We're managing to put this thing together, and so we've come a long way. I feel like I have a lot left in the tank, so maybe we'll I'll give a better answer down the road, but we'll see where the vine leads us.
Yeah, it's all progressional. I was thinking that probably Hollywood in general, it's got to be a really difficult time with COVID and the ability to produce movies. And I think I got to believe that what you guys are working on, there's got to be somewhat of a pent-up demand for great product and great storylines. So, all the best to your project for sure. As investors think about this and watch this, where can an investor go to connect with you if they want to consider investing in the vine? And what materials do you have to offer investors to consider the project?
We definitely got a pitch. We got a complete business plan.
The business plan, yeah. They can reach us at thevinefeaturefilm@gmail.com. So the Vine, THEVINE, featurefilm@gmail.com. They can also reach Frances on LinkedIn, Frances Campbell. Yeah.
And there you find also a lot of information too. So
absolutely, yeah, for sure.
And if you're an investor watching, please connect with Frances and Jeremy. Such a great and important project. So, is there anything we haven't covered? What's that?
Yeah, I just said yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to share with the audience?
If there's anybody watching that has big dreams and you've had them for a while, and maybe there's people around you that are saying, if it hasn't happened yet, it probably never will, or they've even turned their backs on you. I just want to tell you not to listen to them. Keep going. Don't ever stop believing. Never give in and never give up.
That's a powerful message. That's a mic drop message right there, my friend.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, Jeremy Francis, thanks so much. Enjoyed having you on Beyond, and best of luck to the Vine.
Thank you
Thank
for
you, sir.
having us.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.
Guys, that was
Bye.
awesome.